Unsolicited advice.
What you whispering for? Yo, what's unsolicited advice? Take it or leave it. If someone says, do you want a wedding or do you want the marriage? You know, they're asking you if you prioritize celebrating the ceremony of a wedding or do you want a long-term commitment of a marriage? You know, implying that, you know, the true focus should be on the everlasting partnership, you know, rather than a single day event. I think the average marriage costs, the average like wedding costs around about $30,000, just for your basic, decent, you know, I approve type wedding. And then, you know, you got the honeymoon. If we're keeping it traditional, you got your honeymoon, that's going to run you about $5,000. You know, we're not even talking about the ring. You know, $2,500 to $5,000 is what I've seen most people spend on a ring. And you got so many things that come with the wedding. There's so many things that come with the wedding. But the reason why I'm asking them is because a lot of times you have to pay attention to what people want the most. And of course, this is probably aimed towards a certain gender. But you have to question, you know, do you want to be married to me, or are you just excited about having a wedding, having your dream wedding? Or are you more excited about spending your life with me? There's so many times nowadays where you see people, you know, they get married and then they're divorced, you know, like a month later, or sometimes a week later, they're divorced, you know, grand opening, grand closing. And like I said, some they separate, or they'll go and, you know, they'll go and be with other people, like that whole Remy Ma and Papoose thing. You know, they're still married, but they're out cheating and being with other people. So, you know, you really have to have that talk about whether you want to be a wife and a husband, or do you just want the wedding? You just want to have all the fun of the going through a wedding to say that you had a wedding. You know, some people like the event, they like the attention, they like the extravaganza of all of it. Everybody's seeing them, you know, in their dress or their suit. Everybody's, you know, showing, look at how many people came to my wedding. Look at the type of food that I had. Look at the layout, you know, look at the decorations, you know, look at me, look at me, look at me. But true love and people that are truly committed to each other, I've seen them just get up one day and go down to the courthouse, or, you know, go to Vegas or wherever and get eloped, you know, right there in that moment, because they're crazy about each other. They love each other. So to each his own. But if you break it down, you know, the first thing, you know, of course, the guy has to buy a ring. Traditionally, the guy goes and buys a ring. And he, you know, so that's going to run about, like I said, $2,500 to $5,000, somewhere around there. So, you know, he goes and gets the ring. Then here comes the proposal, right? So you have the proposal, you know, everybody's on their fields, they're all happy, you know, they're ready to spend their lives together, technically. Then, you know, of course, you got to make an announcement to everybody. So now this is when the money starts, right? So let's, you know, we're on a timer right now. You know, the clock's ticking. This is right now is once you got in the ring, you've done the proposal, and you've made the announcement to everybody that's important to you that you're getting married. This is where things get the waters get murky, because a lot of people will go a whole year. You know, they'll plan it out for like a whole year. And me personally, I've always thought, if I'm gonna get married, I'm getting married right now. Let's go do it. And then if you want to plan something out, you can. But I don't want to have any reasons or any doubts within that year of not wanting to get married. Because for a woman, I think that you know, a lot of times they're happy in this moment. They got that ring. They're on cloud nine. They get to plan this wedding. You know, they get to, you know, to pick out this stuff. You know, you have the wedding date. You know, get your wedding coordinator. You got the invitations, the venues. You know, the food and flower selections. Then you got to do the rehearsals. You know, you have the wedding. You know, she gets to do the bride entrance. You get to exchange the rings. You know, you do your vows. You know, the kids, the reception. You know, reception alone can last about 3 to 4 hours. You know, if it's, you know, if everything's going good. You know, and then you got your honeymoon. Of course, you go on your honeymoon. And, you know, y'all in your fields, everything's great. Then the honeymoon phase is over. You know, and reality kicks in. But that's why I said there's so much time in between where you have to get everything together for the wedding. And I don't think that there should be left of any doubts. You shouldn't, the more time you spend being in a relationship, you know, getting prepared for the wedding, you know, getting prepared to get married, the more doubts can seep in a person's head, especially with the man. And anybody that's ever watched like Bridezilla or The Love is Blind or all this other stuff, the more time that you waste planning something, the more a person gets to see certain things or they get to view certain things that they probably shouldn't see. You know, sometimes, like I said, brides can turn into bridezillas. People get attitudes, they get in their feelings about certain things, and they can mess stuff up. Because some people are so focused on the wedding and not focused on being married. You know, I'm going to be a wife. I'm going to be a husband. You know, I need to start working on that part because I want to be the best husband I can be, or I want to be the best wife I can be. That's really what it's about. But I'm talking about this today because I think that we should challenge the notion of a marriage. You know, the notion of having these big extravagant weddings. Weddings have such an impact on the culture that people equate weddings to their kids' birthday parties, to events that they want to throw. Everything has to be so extravagant. It used to be a family affair. It used to be an intimate setting. It wasn't always about the glitz and the glamour. But now, of course, with social media and people getting more and more ideas because they're watching other people have their weddings. Some people are in that race, you know, they're in that rat race to try to compete. And we miss the message about marriage and commitment and companionship. For me personally, and I'm a simple-minded person anyways, but for me, you know, if I want to be married to you and I'm at that point, I'd rather just go to the courthouse. I'd rather go to the courthouse, and the amount of money that you spend on a wedding, I would rather take that big chunk and go on a nice vacation. You know, I'd rather go on a honeymoon. You know, I don't need to be standing around a bunch of people that I ain't seen in a long time to profess my love to somebody. You know, you being in my life, I get to profess that every day. I don't need a bunch of people that I ain't going to see after this to prove anything. I want to prove everything to you. But that's just me. I'm a very, you know, make sense type of person. What makes sense to me is, you know, if I'm going to spend $30,000 on a wedding just to prove that I love the woman that I'm going to be with. Sorry, coming down. I think I'm coming on a cold or something. I don't know, but it never made sense to me. You know, the vows that you exchange to each other mean way more than, you know, if I'm getting the correct type of flowers or the right meat on the menu. You know, the vows be more than anything. What I say to you and the commitment that I make means more, or at least that makes sense to me. But nowadays it's all about getting that wedding. It's not about being married anymore. Because people treat a marriage like They treat a marriage like it's a demand. It's not about being in love anymore. It's not about sharing your life with anybody. It's about, if we're married, so you need to do whatever I say, or you need to, you know, fulfill my life, or I'm leaving. You know, people used to get married just to be with each other because they loved each other, no matter what. And we've gotten away from that. You know, we live in a materialistic world, and people feel like the more that you give them, the more that means you love them. But I don't want to believe that. I believe that true love comes from looking at a person every day and knowing that that's your person, that that's who you want to be with. And I'm not trying to be all sappy, because I'm not the sappy type. I'm just being realistic. I hate the idea of a wedding now. I would love to just go and get eloped. You know, it's nobody's business anyways, but me and my person. We go get married, and we can just take $5,000 to $10,000 and go have like a great honeymoon. You know, we can take we can spend half of that just, getting the plane tickets or whatever to go wherever, and we can spend a chunk on that. We can go shopping and, eat good and drink good every day and whatever you want to do. I would rather go do that and have that memory, and come back knowing that I have the person that's going to be with me for the rest of my life, than spending all that money on a wedding on people that's probably going to hate on us being together, or people that's going to complain about the selections that we made for the wedding or the wedding reception. If you know, you know. A lot of y'all that go to these weddings, y'all know most of the people that's there complain about free shit. You invited them and they complaining. They didn't have to pay for none of this, but that's just my opinion about it. I think we should really sit and think about whether you really want to be married, or you're just excited about the idea of having a wedding. Some people just love going to events and parties. And I think sometimes they forget and they start tuning shit out. And they forget, oh, damn, I got to be somebody's husband, or I got to be somebody's wife. The goal is to find your person. It's not to find somebody that's going to take care of you financially forever, or do every little thing that you say. The goal is to find your person, the person that matches you, the person that completes you, your companion. And I think we should get back to that, because that's what love is really all about. But that's just my opinion. It's just some advice. You can take it or leave it.